FLM, wide open thinking, world-class work, and far-reaching results. Now with locations in Minneapolis, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Washington, D.C. A strategic marketing and communications company dedicated to serving clients who specialize in the business of agriculture and the life of rural communities.
Senator Joni Ernst from the great state of Iowa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Now, you serve in a state that is no stranger to agricultural production.
Right.
What can you tell us about Iowa agriculture specifically?
Well, Iowa, of course, is a wonderful state to grow up in. I grew up in southwest Iowa and was exposed to all different types of agriculture. In Iowa, we grow lots of soybeans, corn, hogs, cattle, you name it, you can probably find it in Iowa. Huge poultry producer as well. One of the issues that I would like to talk about today is, of course, the avian influenza. So a lot of things going on in Iowa right now, things that we're concerned about. Of course, the RFS, Renewable Fuel Standard, is also an interesting topic for Iowa right now as we wait for the EPA to finalize their standards for 2014 through 2016.
Now, aside from growing up on a farm, and you even made reference to your castrating prowess during some campaign remarks, you also served in the military and in the state legislature. So how did your background prepare you for your time as a United States Senator?
Well, yes, growing up on a very small farm in southwest Iowa, one thing that my folks taught us growing up was to know the value of a dollar and that you work very hard for that dollar, so to make sure it's spent wisely. So when I first went into politics, it was at a local level. I was a county auditor, and again, understanding the value of a dollar and to have a budget that worked within our means was really important. So took that on to the state legislature and felt I could make a difference at the federal level as well. So it's been an honor representing Iowans at all levels of government, but I've also served in the military too, and I took away different aspects of my military experience, which have helped me in this arena. And first and foremost is leadership, knowing how to work through a problem and make decisions that will benefit the good of the team. And so that's been a great benefit to me.
Now, one of the committees that you serve on, and one that is certainly important to your state, is the Senate Agriculture Committee. What are your goals for your time on that committee?
Well, there are a number of goals, and of course, just looking overall at agriculture and how to promote agriculture as well as protect our agricultural operations, so farming and ranching, making sure that we are educating those that aren't in direct contact with the very roots of where their food system comes from, I think is very important. As we look at spin-off industries that are attached to agriculture, whether it's renewable fuels, renewable energies, or ag production equipment, there are so many aspects to that committee. I do chair a subcommittee, it's rural development and energy, and the goal that I have for that committee is to make sure we're protecting the rural economies and a rural way of life, ensuring that people that live in those rural areas have the same types of advantages that you might see in a more urban area. Those areas are very important, of course, again, for our food systems and for our energy systems. We need to make sure we're encouraging folks to stay in the rural areas.
And earlier you mentioned the Renewable Fuel Standard, and certainly we could talk for days about the amount of controversy that's been involved with that policy the last couple of years. But now that we have a firmer timeline from the Environmental Protection Agency, what are you hoping to see moving forward for the RFS?
Well, we will continue to push. This is something that not only I have been working on, but Senator Chuck Grassley, many other senators from these rural states where we do have a huge amount of renewable energy, predominantly biodiesel, ethanol, making sure that the EPA is not reducing those standards, but increasing the volume. We would love to see that. Will they do that? I don't know that they will, but we don't want to see a reduction, so we'll keep pushing the EPA on those issues.
Now, you and Senator Grassley have both been pushing for a strong RFS, but this is kind of a fine line, for the two of you, especially because Iowa grows a lot of corn. There's also a lot of pork and poultry production involved that uses a lot of that corn. So how can you as a legislator walk that fine line between those two industries that are both so important to your state?
Well, I tell you, it's not such a fine line, I guess, in our minds, because we see the importance of those renewable energy sources. And with ag production going up, especially when it comes to the volume of corn and the bushels of corn that we can produce now, we see a little less push and pull for those types of products. So, of course, we're working on the RFS, and when you're producing ethanol, you have a number of grains that come out, the end product, that can be used as feed for those the poultry operators, those cattle ranchers. So we're seeing a lot more cooperation between the industries.
Now, you're in your first year of your 6-year term in the Senate, and so with that in mind, there is the potential for two major trade agreements to come down during your time in the Senate with the TPP and the TTIP. So with that in mind, how do you see those two trade agreements, and really just trade as a broader topic in general, shaping the climate in Washington these next couple of years?
It is going to be very controversial. There are a number of states that maybe don't see the value of trade like Iowa does. In Iowa, we are a huge exporter for all of the various products that we have already talked about: our corn, soybeans, poultry, pork, beef, and we export so much of that to the countries that would be involved in those trade agreements. So it is very important for Iowa and many other rural states that we have strong agreements which will promote trade. So I am excited about that opportunity. I will be pushing for that, those trade agreements. I've supported TPA in the past, will continue to do so as we move forward. So great opportunity, I think, is out there. I would love to see more of our USA products going overseas. Let's create some American jobs through these types of trade programs.
And earlier you mentioned the avian influenza, bird flu, whatever the terminology you want to use. It's been a big problem in your state, specifically these last couple of months with the egg-laying hen business being what it is in your state. Now, obviously, you as a lawmaker can't go and single-handedly stop the spread of the disease. What are some things that you can do, and what are some things that you're planning to do to help producers in your state with this outbreak?
Well, first and foremost is the fact that we have to educate everybody on what is happening with the avian influenza. I will even talk to people in Iowa, in some of the unaffected areas, that aren't aware of the impact that this has. So as we're out and about across the state of Iowa, as I'm visiting with other legislators, as I'm talking to members of the media, it is first getting that word out that this is a serious epidemic. Next, we can work with members of the USDA and as well as our local level, state level Department of Agriculture, making sure that they are working on those issues. If there are any additional resources that are needed that should come from the federal government, that is something then that I will take that mantle on and work through. If it's legislative, if it's policy driven, that's when I can step in. But again, just being a leader in this area and making sure that all different levels of government, as well as those producers, are covering down on the problem. What I'd like to see as we hopefully see an end to this epidemic is bring everybody together and talk about what went well at the different levels, what needs to go better, because unfortunately this might be something we see reoccurring in the future. We have to learn from this, know how to prevent it would be the ultimate goal, but should it happen again, know how to treat it in a much more efficient manner.
And just wrapping up here, you come from a state that doesn't have as many votes in the Electoral College as many others, but Iowa plays a key role in presidential elections due to the timing of its caucus. So why is it important for a state with such a heavy agricultural focus like Iowa? Why is it important for a state like that to play such a heavy role in presidential elections?
Well, Iowa, most people will think of Iowa as an agricultural state, and we are a very rural state. But we have a great cross-section of America. Not only do we have a strong ag base, but we have a wonderful, solid manufacturing base. We have wonderful financial institutions which are housed in Iowa, and we have an up-and-coming tech industry as well. We've recently located Facebook and Google into the state. So you will find a great cross-section of industries, a vibrant economy, very sound economy, and we represent so many different walks of life right there in Iowa. So as candidates are looking for feedback from different types of individuals, they'll find it all in Iowa.
Senator Joni Ernst from the great state of Iowa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.